Sarah Wozniak, June 26th. This is the cow eye dissection. So I've already removed the outer fascia to expose the optic nerve on the posterior of the eyeball. The anterior with the cornea, this is the cornea, and the posterior, this is the optic nerve. Let me show you. Optic nerve, which would connect to the brain through it would connect the optic nerve through the frontal lobe. The anterior portion shows the cornea and the sclera. All of the outside area here is the sclera. The inside here is the cornea. So we're gonna make the first incision. I have my notes here. We'll make the first incision on the anterior portion, and that will separate the cornea from the sclera. The front of the eye is the aqueous humor, and the back of the eye is showing the vitreous humor. So we're gonna make the first incision by cutting around the cornea. And the humerus is on the inside, so when we cut that, we want to make sure it doesn't squirt out. It's really hard to cut it. I'm going to use the scalpel. The scissors don't want to cut. Okay, so we're gonna use this to cut through here. And there's the humerus that we were trying to avoid getting all over us. Ugh, gross. It's splattered everywhere. So we're going to cut around the cornea, separating it from the sclera. Hopefully we'll be able to flip it back so we can expose the lens. This is a lot harder than it looks. It's rough. Okay, so we could flip that back, and we see the black area here is the iris, and this middle area is the pupil. We're gonna separate the iris from the lens, from the cornea. So this here is the cornea, this is the iris, this is the pupil. Behind that is the vitreous humor. Inside, this is actually supposed to be connected to the retina, but it's actually inside. This is the This is the lens. If it was a live animal, it would be soft, but it's actually really hard. And that's the lens. the cornea. We peeled back and we have the iris here. The inside, it's a bunch of liquid. It's the humerus. We're going to dump that out. Okay. Now we're going to cut that down the middle, avoiding the optic nerve. This is separating the anterior and the posterior of the eye. Okay. So now when we open it, we can see the black area is what contains the rods and cones. And the light area here, this is the retina. We're removing the retina. So right behind the optic nerve, this black area is what we just removed. It's the choroid, and it has the light area that you see here is the tapetum lucidum. That's what allows the animals to see in low light, like at night. We can actually remove that. It's a thin layer. That's what causes the reflection when the animals, like cats, when the light hits it. This light area here is the blind spot. This is where, when we did our testing, showed the blind spot of the eye. It's the opposite of the optic nerve. So the optic nerve is here. The blind spot is right on the other side of it. It's where the retina connects to the optic nerve, causing a blind spot. That's our cow eye dissection.